real shot to be in that role into the future. How does he do it?
Look, I think he has to really master Todd Monken's offense, and that means playing on time, making great decisions, protecting the football, and having the offense look from a fundamental perspective the way Todd wants it to look. And look, that's just the reality of it. And I understand that now you're learning another system, another new system. You're going to be going up against a guy who is a veteran in Deshaun Watson, who some people have high expectations of. But I think for him, it's about making sure he masters this offense to the best of his ability. That's really the only thing he can control. And quite honestly, the only thing Todd Monken's going to be looking for.
Harry, how do you see that quarterback battle in Cleveland shaping up?
Well, I think for Shedeur, number one, you're dealing with the play caller and the guy that's your head coach that wanted you with the Baltimore Ravens. That's a plus. But I agree with Louis Riddick. You have to grasp this system inside and out. The other thing you have to do, you have to earn the trust of not just your teammates, but the coaching staff and the people in the front office upstairs. If those people cannot trust you, especially your teammates, you're not going to be out there as a starting quarterback. But play consistently. Take care of the football, and Shedeur Sanders will be okay.
Okay, we have much more football conversation as our more under John Harbaugh, and one player noticeably absent was Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy. We know he has made a trade request. John Harbaugh, I'm going to paraphrase what he said yesterday. I want to take the time up here to play it for you, but John Harbaugh basically said in a very politically correct way, we want him back. But that's what you say. Do you, if you were the New York Giants right now, I got Lewis and Harry Douglas with me. If you're the New York Giants right now, you trading away Dexter Lawrence?
I would be very reluctant to do so. I mean, you got a guy on the right side of 30 years old. He's one of the most double-teamed defensive tackles in the National Football League because of the fact that the guy can push the pocket. His production dipped a little bit this year, but that's not indicative of where he's at in his career. This is a team that really struggled to stop the run this year. What's your next best alternative? You're not real deep at the position. You're going to really replace this guy, you know, when it comes to the draft. You think you're going to get a one-for-one exchange there? Probably not. Look, this really just comes down to money. That's what it's going to come down to. Dex wants to be paid. He wants to be paid like some of the best interior players in the NFL, which is upward around $30 million per year, right around that area. And he is underpaid right now, relatively speaking. We'll see how this goes.
All right, we'll keep an eye on the Dexter Lawrence situation. But of all the things that came out of the Giants yesterday, that, to me, was not the most interesting one. The most interesting one was Matt Nagy. He's the Giants' first-year offensive coordinator, and he was asked about the quarterback that he's there to continue grooming, and that's Jackson Dart. And listen to what the coach said.
And I remember then at the Combine, us not really being in the quarterback market, watching him, you could see this moxie that he had, and he had this it.
The New York Giants have a problem, and it is not a small problem. It is not a maybe we will figure it out in training camp problem. It is a right now, in plain sight, everybody sees it, nobody wants to say it out loud problem. Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy, one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League, has requested a trade. He wants out. And John Harbaugh, the new head coach, stood at the podium yesterday and said all the right things. We want him back. We want to work it out. But here is what nobody is saying. Dexter Lawrence is underpaid. He is making around $20 million per year on the last 2 years of his deal. And the top interior defensive linemen in the NFL are making $30 million per year. Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons. Those guys got paid. Dexter Lawrence wants his turn. And he is right to want it. He is 28 years old. He is in the prime of his career. And he is one of the most double-teamed defensive tackles in the entire league. Offensive lines have to scheme around him. They have to put 2 guys on him every single play. That opens up everything for everyone else on that defensive line. Now Louis Riddick, who knows a thing or two about front offices because he used to work in one, breaks this down perfectly. He says he would be very reluctant to trade Dexter Lawrence. You have a guy on the right side of 30 years old. He is one of the most double-teamed defensive tackles in the NFL because he can push the pocket. His production dipped a little bit this year, but that is not indicative of where he is in his career. Then Louis asks the question that every Giants fan should be asking. What is your next best alternative? You are not real deep at that position. You think you are going to replace this guy in the draft? You think you are going to get a one-for-one exchange there? Probably not. And that is the truth. The Giants were already bad against the run this past season. They struggled to stop anybody up the middle. And now you want to trade away your best run stopper? That does not make sense. Louis says this really just comes down to money. Dex wants to be paid like some of the best interior players in the NFL, which is upward around $30 million per year. And he is underpaid right now, relatively speaking. So here is my problem with the Giants front office. You knew this was coming. Dexter Lawrence has been trying to get a new contract for almost 2 years. 2 years. And you did nothing. You waited. You hoped. You thought he would just show up and play. Now he is holding out of voluntary workouts. Now he has requested a trade. And you are surprised? That is not how you treat your best defensive player. That is not how you build a culture. John Harbaugh is a great coach. He won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. But he cannot fix a front office that refuses to pay its stars. And here is the other thing nobody is talking about. The Giants have a young quarterback. In Jackson Dart. They have a new offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. They are trying to build something. They are trying to change the culture. How do you do that when your best defensive player is standing outside the building with a trade request? How do you convince the rest of the locker room that you are serious about winning when you will not pay the guy who gets double-teamed on every snap? You cannot. And the rest of the league knows it. Teams are already calling. The Giants have accepted the trade request, but they have not shopped him. They do not want to move him. But if they do not pay him, they will have no choice. And the return? A first-round pick at minimum. Maybe more. But what does a first-round pick get you? A rookie. An unknown. A guy who might be good in 3 years. Dexter Lawrence is good right now. He is great right now. And you want to trade him for a lottery ticket? That is how bad teams stay bad. That is how the Giants have been irrelevant for the last decade. Louis Riddick is right. You do not trade a player like Dexter Lawrence unless you have no other choice. And the Giants have a choice. Pay the man. $30 million per year sounds like a lot. But what is the alternative? Watching him dominate for the Chargers? Watching him sack your quarterback twice a year? Watching him lead another team to the playoffs while you sit at home wondering what went wrong? That is the reality. So here is my question for you. Should the Giants pay Dexter Lawrence $30 million per year? Or should they trade him for draft picks? Drop your take in the comments. Do you agree with Louis Riddick? Or do you think the Giants need to move on and rebuild? And if you want more honest breakdowns of what is really happening in the NFL this offseason, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.